Hometown favorite Jamal James coming off the longest layoff of his career, 16 months, looking to get back on the winning track as he takes on Alberto Palmetta, a 2016 Olympian for his native Argentina. And he comes into this fight having won his last 12. And for the 32-year-old Palmetta, that 12-fight winning streak, 11 have come by stoppage since his lone defeat against compatriot and fellow lefty Gonzalo Correa. Hey, he's in a great mood. He is very excited about this opportunity to take on Jamal James in his backyard. Now, Palmetta, though, was stopped in the 5th round after dropping Correa in the 3rd. Palmetta most recently blasted out Thomas Mendez in 3 rounds last November. In his corner for the 2nd fight is Ismael Salas, and he trains in Las Vegas. And his quote for this fight: "One thing that's good for me is James likes to fight inside," close quote. Jamal James, the 34-year-old, yeah, he's 6'1.5", and yet does love to fight. As a shorter fighter, loves to fight on the inside. He is 27-2 with 12 knockouts. Has been a welterweight his entire 13-year career and getting a hero's welcome here at the Armory. Fighting for the 5th time in this intimate venue. He is 4-0 in this building with 2 knockouts, but again, looking to rebound from his 2nd defeat, an October 2021 slugfest against the then unbeaten Radzhab Butaev that saw James' 7-fight win streak snapped via 9th-round TKO, although referee Celestino Ruiz, the timing of the stoppage was questioned, and James now looking to, well, give the fans who brave those wintry conditions an opportunity to cheer here tonight. He is all about his community. He is all about being a proud representative of the Minneapolis area.
Well, let's revisit that fight 15 months ago where he went in against Radzhab Butaev, hoping to solidify his position as an upper echelon welterweight. Early on, it appeared it was going pretty well toward that end, but then the strong Butaev turned things around with a tremendous body attack. And by the 9th round, lots of punishment against James. And yes, it might have been an inopportune moment, but the stoppage wasn't shocking because Butaev had been punishing James. Now, as you point out, Mauro, he's trying to turn things around. And we'll look at the numbers for this matchup. Now, James, and we've talked about it, much taller than Palmetta. He's used to Palmetta facing taller welterweights. Now, we measured Jamal James, and he came in at 76.5 in terms of his reach, which gives him quite a reach advantage as well over Palmetta. Palmetta understands he's going to have to cut the distance a little bit in this fight, but he knows how to do it.
Here's Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Well, fans, from the Armory here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Premier Boxing Champions continues the action. This time we move into the welterweight division, and it is presented in association with Samson Boxing. Introducing our judges, scoring from ringside, we have from Texas, John Shorley. From Minnesota, Ludi Webster. And from Arizona, Chris Wilson. And presenting our referee in charge, our 3rd man in the ring is Ernie Sharif. All right, fans, here we go. 10 rounds of boxing scheduled. We have a welterweight special attraction. Introducing to you first on my left, fighting out of the red corner. Entering the ring wearing white trunks with pink trim. Originally from Buenos Aires, Argentina, now fighting out of West Palm Beach, Florida. He weighed in at the welterweight limit of 147 pounds. His record stands at 18 wins, 1 loss, with 13 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, seeking his 13th consecutive win, introducing the southpaw battler, Alberto Palmetta. And his opponent across the ring. On my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing gray trunks, proudly representing his home of Minneapolis, Minnesota. He weighed in at 146 3/4 pounds with a record of 27 wins, 2 losses. He has 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the former WBA Welterweight Champion of the World, Jamal Shango. Again, a referee in charge, Ernie Sharif, now to give instructions.
All right, fellas, you received the instructions in the dressing room. I want you to obey my commands at all times. Protect yourselves at all times. Any questions? Any questions? The trucks are in the right place. Anything below the navel is low blow. All right, touch them up, go.
Ernie Sharif, 33 years as a professional referee, working his 390th professional bout. 10 rounds or less at 147 pounds.
Alberto Palmetta, very creative in the way he touched gloves. I thought that was very impressive.
James fighting for the first time as a father. We saw his mother Sierra, his wife Marley in attendance. Marley gave birth to their son Salim last September. His wife, a mental health therapist, and these days we definitely could use a lot more of those. So Jamal James, who has definitely worked on the mental game as well, coming off a loss and wanting to, again, he knows how important it is to, especially in this weight class, how important it is to make sure you give your best chance at victory each and every time you step into that ring.
Yeah, especially at age 34, not much time for him to climb back from another loss. Palmetta is a fighter who understands what it is to try and close the gap in fights, because he is the shorter, often the shorter of the two fighters. And he thinks, though, that James just doesn't like pressure fighters, and that is going to work to his benefit.
It's been 8 years since James has faced a foe as shorter than Palmetta's 5'7". That was in 2015 against the 5'6" Michael Balassi. So he is definitely not accustomed to fighting a guy this short. And we've seen in the past, Abner, where James belies his physical gifts and wants to fight like a shorter fighter on the inside, and really not always utilizing his God-given gifts.
Yeah, that's one thing that James has, and I hope that he learned that from the Butaev fight. I hope that he grew from that fight as far as experience, and learned that you got the advantage, the God-gifted physical advantages, which is the distance.
Aggressive start here, Al, for James, putting together combinations and again working behind that jab.
Yeah, and you would expect that. We saw it in the Butaev fight. That's what he does. He always fights well at the beginning of fights.
Yeah.
And he does. I mean,
he does.
He'll put together 4, 5, 6 rounds off and good, and only on a couple of occasions in the Ugas fight against Denis Ugas when he lost, and Butaev, does he tend to fade?
And I wonder if Palmetta knows that exactly. Okay, these first couple of rounds, James is going to run around, use the distance, but eventually he's going to stand and trade with me.
And he's been doing that a little bit more here in the opening round as James. He's actually not been as mobile and has been willing to trade and getting the better of a lot of these exchanges against the shorter Palmetta. Just over 30 seconds left in the first frame. There's the jab. There's a backhanded jab. Not exactly legal by Palmetta, who ate that straight right hand from James.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with trading punches right now early on for James, but do it at the right distance.
Yeah, good point. Really good point.
And there, mid-range combination splitting the guard of Palmetta. Good start, as is usually the case for Minneapolis fan favorite Jamal James.
Step back, please.
We'll look at what these fighters need to do. For James, it's important to stay off the ropes. He gets a big problem when he puts his back to the ropes. I think he wants to push Palmetta back, and he tried to do that a little bit in the first round. Palmetta can't fight going backwards. And the right hand, which he did drop in on several occasions, is going to be the punch for him that's probably going to work best from a power standpoint. For Palmetta, the jab is important because it's going to allow pave his way on the inside, and he's a very good combination puncher when he starts that. And I think we'll see that as this fight goes on. And a little more head movement on the way in is, I think, what's required from it. When we saw that James was able to pick him off a little bit as he came in.
32-year-old Palmetta making a step up in class. He throws an average of 77 punches per round in the first round against James. Well, James threw 77 punches, Palmetta just 46. And again, that's because of the use of the jab and the pressure and the volume of Jamal James. And now here comes the pressure of Palmetta.
Palmetta believes that all he has to do in these rounds, these early rounds, is not get hit with something big and keep pushing James back, and that eventually that will work to his benefit.
Well, he's been unable to do so here in the second round as he's eaten some serious shots already from Jamal James.
Yeah, definitely not a bad game plan for Palmetta. You would hope that, you know, it goes that way, but James doing a fantastic job of keeping a great distance with the jab. And not only that throwing the straight punches, he follows up with the body shots.
And he creates angles, moves around. And that's one way to slow him down. Palmetta looking to get James to bite on the feint. Instead, James delivers a couple of right uppercuts on the inside.
And the uppercut, which James uses from time to time, not that much, could be a big weapon here tonight.
Check hook by James.
And see, with Palmetta, when he tries, he has his moments. He lands nice shots, but it's just that reach that James is giving him.
And James going to the body. Short left hook to the liver by James, and he is looking again to deliver the right uppercut. Here comes Palmetta with some success going to the body.
James is a good body puncher. Palmetta, 33% of the punches Palmetta lands are to the body. He thinks that's going to be vital as this fight wears on when he gets inside.
And when you're a guy his height, the body is probably the best place to attack.
The easiest, isn't it?
1 minute left in the second.
Yeah, if you're Palmetta, you want to aim for the chest. Oh, even though he aimed for the head.
Delivered by James in the right hand as Palmetta did aim for the head, and he goes to the body with a right.
Down line.
Palmetta's an interesting guy. You know, he's got 11 KOs in his last 12 fights, and yet if you ask people, they might not say he's a big puncher, which is interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it's intriguing.
Yeah, he's got a momentum going right now. You know, a lot of KOs in these last couple of fights. But, you know, in this case, it's more volume that he wants to do.
Yeah. James is having another good round here, though. You know, he's landing a lot of good punches.
And Palmetta's having a much better round as well, relatively speaking, but definitely the action heating up early here in this welterweight encounter between Jamal James, looking to bounce back from his second loss, taking on Alberto Palmetta, who is riding a 12-fight winning streak against the toughest opponent of his career.
Keep firing right here. One side of it. Bam! Bam! Okay. Short and sharp. Feel good? Come on, baby. We've been here too many times. Let's go. Get back, son, my man. Get back. Get back.
The words of Jamal James, trainer. Technically his stepfather, but James calls him his dad, Sankara Frazier, and talk about a guy who contributes to society, not only as a boxing trainer, but what he does for the community, what both these individuals do for the community, and that's why Minnesota fans come out in the snow and come out and support people like Jamal James. a role model and a guy who, well, just took a couple of shots to the head from Palmetta, but Palmetta playing with him, though, and now it's James sitting down with that 1-2.
Yeah, Frazier with his Circle of Discipline nonprofit here that helps the community. Really important.
And James speaks once a week to kids with his own Pursuit of Discipline program, founded in 2017. Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, very active with community affairs, and that's one of the family traditions. You know, James did a nice job of countering like he did with that right hand. And you made the point earlier, both fighters are starting to do the things they want to do. Although James really kind of had that going in round 1 as well.
Yeah, we saw that a lot more in that last round, which was, you know, still a good James round, but Palmetta having his way coming in. He's closing that gap little by little, letting his hands go just as he is right now.
And he is targeting the head and having more success for James when he delivers his combinations, does exit to his left, does get out of the way and not stand straight in front of Palmetta.
That was a nice overhand left for Palmetta. Especially against a top fighter, you want to aim it to the head.
I like that double pump jab left hook by James as well, curling behind the guard of Palmetta, and James again threatening with that long distance right uppercut.
If you scripted this fight, this is almost exactly the way you would think it would go. There's the combination punching of Palmetta. And I put that in the keys because he's not always a combination puncher, but when he does it, he's very effective.
And he punctuated that combination with a punch to the head of the much taller James, which only behooves Palmetta's progress.
And you're right, Al. Both fighters doing the things that they need to do.
Right, yeah, it's kind of interesting.
And here, James showing glimpses of maybe fighting Palmetta's fight, getting down low after we saw it against Butaev and others.
It almost seems like it's just a matter of time as the third round and Palmetta and James
natural instincts.
Already sitting down on his punches.
Wants to put on a show. Oh, left hook to the body by James. Nice counter upstairs by Palmetta.
And then we talked about it, getting in closer. And when he has the opportunity, he does that. He aims for the head, and he goes with the combinations, speaking of Palmetta.
Palmetta landed the left hand on James, able to come close enough to do some scoring of his own.
A close and fun round of boxing.
You stuck in the corners and on the ropes. I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to catch it. Quit trying to just not.
Well, we talked about James. You know, there he uses the jab, and then you're going to see a straight right hand. Now that didn't land exactly, but it knocked the glove back of Palmetta into his own face. But that's the kind of combinations that James wants to land in this fight. And there we see that, the same sequence.
But it's funny that he still ate that left, speaking about Palmetta, and he still pounded his way to get inside.
Yeah, and later on, that's James going downstairs, but there's the counter right hand by Palmetta. Palmetta and James were just razor thin close in that last round, and Palmetta did some nice work.
This is the fourth scheduled for 10 in a welterweight matchup between Jamal Shango James and Alberto Palmetta. Palmetta, an Olympian for Argentina, used to be trained by 1976 U.S. Olympic silver medalist Charlie Mooney in that 76 squad. Greatest Olympic team ever, boxing-wise?
Probably, yeah. You make a case for it, that's for sure. And now, as you mentioned, with Ismail Salas, and, you know, James has fought better opposition than Palmetta. Palmetta hasn't. He's fought good fighters, Palmetta, but he hasn't been able to get to the upper echelon people that you know, James has had a chance to fight. So this is a step-up fight a little bit for Palmetta, but he feels he belongs in there.
James delivering combinations to the head of Palmetta, now finds himself on the ropes. Good defense, though, avoiding the attack of Palmetta, then evacuating the scene. And James continues to put together combinations, Abner.
Yeah, beautiful step to the side, you know, from James after his combinations. And that's what you want to do, continue to do that against a smaller fighter. I know he likes the action, and I mean, that's exciting too, because he's landing his punches. That's beautiful boxing, what he's doing.
He's accurate, precise, and Al again showcasing an all-around skill level that one must possess, especially in the talent-rich welterweight division. We're seeing a little bit of everything from James, and again, a determined effort from Palmetta.
Right, and it is fascinating because you're right. It's a question of whether, as we see now, Palmetta, closing distance. Can James continue this over the course of this whole fight? We'll see.
Cuffing right hook by James. Upstairs on Palmetta. Just over a minute left in the fourth frame. Jab setting up the right hand from James.
That was a beautiful right hand from James. And you know what? Thinking about James, even if he sits down on his punches and he decides to, go toe-to-toe with Palmetta, as long as he does it from the range, we talked about it, and the great body work, I mean, it'll be interesting and really exciting.
He's been able to tag Palmetta upstairs, downstairs. Palmetta trying to close the gap, gets pushed off by James. 30 seconds left in the round.
You never know when James is getting tired or he's just awkward. I've never been able to tell that in his fights, right?
Yeah, you're right. And it is going to come to a point where he's going to have to do exactly what he's doing right now and not use the entire ring, because it's going to come down to that. He's going to get tired.
Great combinations by James, strafing the body of Palmetta, going upstairs, delivering left hooks to the body. A good fourth round here.
This is a reality right now. When you get close to him, you got to start throwing, and just start throwing. If we go on a decision, you know you're going to lose. You need to throw everywhere once you have him nice and close. If we don't do that, then it's over. If you're far away, he's going to hit you. You have to keep making some pressure, so get inside.
Well, and Abner very expertly pointed out that he can be in there, James, throwing these kind of punches as long as he does it from a certain range, and that's the good combination punching for James that we've seen in many of his fights.
And utilizing angles like we saw there, that makes it even more difficult for Palmetta to return fire. Palmetta's corner, sense of urgency. They want him to throw everything, and hey, if they can find a sink here in the Armory, they want him to throw that as well, as he is definitely feeling the pressure from Jamal James.
Another beautiful right hand from James. And now he's staying in the center of the ring. He's holding his ground. Beautiful.
Nails him with the right, pelting him with the right hand on the nose. And yet Palmetta, much like we saw from Adorno in our first fight, continues to display a gutsy resolve, but he's getting hit.
Yeah. Salas made the simple point Salas made was, hey, if you're not close, you're losing, right? If you're far away, you're going to lose this fight. And he's got to work his way on the inside somehow. Is Palmetta.
Palmetta suffered a herniated disc in his back last July. He healed it with therapy and rest, no surgery. Coming off that third round knockout win of Thomas Mendez last November, but man, herniated disc in his back, not exactly easy thing to deal with. And he actually talked about that. That's something he's probably going to have to deal with for the rest of his life.
Yeah, and that wasn't that long ago, which is your point. Yeah.
There's a shot to the body, but a counter by James.
James already found that home for that right hand
to
the body.
Right hand upstairs as well.
As a right hand and as an uppercut, as he did seconds ago.
Here's the thing about the way this fight's gone. You wouldn't have not expected James to do pretty well in these early rounds, but the number of big power punches he's landing is more than you would have expected.
And yet the determined Palmetta marching forward, battering him to the body, delivering right hooks, a right uppercut on the inside by Palmetta to the jaw, James. Palmetta with a minute left in the fifth, putting pressure on Jamal James.
That right hook to the body by Palmetta, maybe his best punch of the fight.
And that's something that Palmetta hasn't been doing much.
No.
The body work. He's got to work the body.
And here comes James with a couple of left hooks to the body of his own.
Yeah, they're both good body punchers. It's just more imperative for Palmetta to do it.
Man, James really using that jab adroitly to set up a punishing right hand to the face of a Palmetta. Good counter right hand over the top by Palmetta.
Yeah, and it's Palmetta staying linear for James, and that is the reason why he's finding a home for that right hand.
Beautiful job by Palmetta, though, going downstairs and then upstairs. Palmetta again unloading, but James doing a good job bobbing and weaving, avoiding the shots of Palmetta as we have reached the midway point of this welterweight fight. Mr. Showbox, Steve Farhad, also our unofficial scorer, and we will be checking in with him again momentarily as we have reached the midway point. This is round 6, scheduled for 10. Good counter right hooks upstairs by southpaw Palmetta.
It is time to step it up for Palmetta at this point. 6th round. He's got to work the body. Beautiful left right there.
Cross the back of the head now, all right?
So Palmetta normally throws 77 punches per round. He's throwing 46 tonight. And it's been frustrating for him. He hasn't been able to put those punches together like he wants.
As mentioned, let's bring in our unofficial scorer, Steve Farhad. After 5, what is your scorecard read, sir?
Well, Mo, there's more than one way to win a fight, and I don't think anyone's going to confuse the welterweight James with Thomas Hearns, because he's not a puncher for sure, but he is a volume puncher, and he's been a volume puncher enough to win 4 of the 5 rounds. Palmetta looked like he was gaining some momentum in that 3rd round, which I gave him. That's the only round I've given him, so I have it 49-46 for Jamal James, mostly based on volume punching.
Loving both James and Palmetta's determined attack to the body. Turning out to be a great fight, guys.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's becoming incumbent on Alberto Palmetta to do something to make James fade a little bit. You know, if he keeps it up this way and he's not able to get anything done offensively, he's not going to be able to make James falter.
Yeah, he's got to press on the gas. I mean, if we go back to the last fight that James had against Butaev, Butaev's aggression was just, constant pressure, a little bit above what Palmetta's doing right now.
Yeah, with all due respect to Palmetta, Butaev, a different class of fighter. Boy, was he brutal to the body. But, hey, Alberto Palmetta, Olympian, 32 years of age, knowing what this opportunity represents, and he is trying his best.
The big problem for Palmetta is he takes 2 more counter punches. His head movement has been non-existent.
Thank you. I'm just going to say, he's eating a lot of shots as he stays on the center line, trying to
Well, he's still making it exciting for this crowd by taking those shots home.
Takes another right hand from James. And Steve Farhad mentioned it. Jamal James, not known for his punching power, does have 12 knockouts, but the volume, the precision on display here tonight.
Now the question, I'm sorry, Andrew, the question for Palmetta is, his last punches, he's almost dared James to hit it. He doesn't think he can be hurt by him, and he's thinking, I'll land something somewhere down the road that's going to change his fight. We'll see.
Palmetta has been down once in his career. And that came in his loss against Gonzalo Correa.
Are you good? Huh? Finish what? And you're rusty too. But don't keep leading to that side, man. You're gonna lead to the outside of his leg, okay? Yeah. You hear me? Yep, outside of his leg. Calm down. Calm down, man. We already did it.
Hit me, so I know.
All right? And we ain't gonna be just playing on the dumb stuff. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
Deep breaths all the way through. Deep breaths.
Interesting exchange in the Jamal James corner. Now, he is coming off the longest layoff of his career, 16 months, partly due to the fact that they were to fight in October of last year. James contracted COVID for a third time, and he actually mentioned it in the corner, saying he thinks COVID really effed him up.
And you wonder if that's him saying he feels himself eroding physically a little bit, even while he's winning this fight kind of handily.
It's funny and interesting to even mention that Palmetta is getting, James tired by James throwing a lot of punches by hitting Palmetta. That was an exhausted James in that corner. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Abner. And yet he's exhausted, and yet he comes out throwing a lot of punches and landing a lot of punches. And our unofficial score, Steve Farhood has James comfortably ahead as we are into round 7.
Yeah, he's got to relax, like his corner told him, relax.
And there is definitely a change in the body language, although he keeps punching. So regardless of how he feels, he is doing his job in between the, the rounds.
And controlling this round as well. So.
Yeah, great job from James right now, keeping that distance still. Despite Palmetta not trying, seeing him tired, he should be on top of him. But easier said than done.
Yeah, and Palmetta has absolutely ignored throwing jabs to get his way to the inside.
And James continues to diversify his attack. He is strafing Palmetta, body upstairs. Series of rights, and now comes Palmetta. The fans in the Armory enjoying this exchange.
Yeah, you don't want to gas out, James. You don't listen to the crowd right now. Take your time.
Another sharp right hand lands for Jamal James.
Yeah, you can almost make the case Jamal James won this round. Doesn't need to go crazy to try and do more in it.
Palmetta remains in front of him, remains game, but is eating a lot of shots and throwing a lot of leather in return, but being picked off here by Jamal James.
If there's going to be a punch that changes this for Palmetta, it's going to be the right hook.
No head movement. Palmetta remains on the center line, but he's coming back now, going to the body with that right hook, Al. James needs to get off the ropes, even though he's doing a good job of bobbing and weaving. Left hook by James. Showing their appreciation. Toe-to-toe, James and Palmetta as we go to round number 8. Man, James slowly going back to his corner.
Well, the interesting thing is, by a large margin, according to show stats, James won that last round. He landed all kinds of good power punches. The right hand getting in, working to the body. James did everything. Palmetta just is not going to quit. And here's where he got James on the ropes. Not everything landing, of course, but he put the right hook to the body in there, and Palmetta is continuing to pressure him. And the question is, will that pressure, given the conversation that James had, have any impact? But James, for his part, continues to throw and land excellent shots, even while he was against the ropes, which, kind of defies the logical thinking.
Round number 8, scheduled for 10 in the welterweight division. Jamal James using the jab. And it's interesting, we mentioned the quote Palmetta gave us, that the one good thing for him was that James likes to fight on the inside. Well, it hasn't proven to be a good thing for Palmetta thus far tonight.
And Palmetta finds himself in the position where, depending on how the judges are seeing this, and I say that based on our experience in the last fight, and we look at their records, as we move past into the later rounds, my point was going to be, in fact, that Palmetta may be running out of rounds here. He's going to either need maybe a knockdown or maybe a knockout. We don't know, but this is not a 12-round fight, it's a 10-rounder. So
James has been down 3 times, came back in 3 different fights, came back to win all 3, did get rocked right there by a shot from Palmetta.
And to add to that, Al, I mean, it's interesting because I honestly only seen Palmetta win 1 or 2 rounds of this entire fight, but despite that, he's still making this fight really interesting and really tough for James.
Right hook to the body by Palmetta. Right hand by James.
And it's James outworking himself. His own, like, he just got to pick his shot. He doesn't have to overthrow against Palmetta at this point.
And the key thing is James is 6-1 in 10-rounders. He's even been 12 rounds. Palmetta's only been 10-round 1 time. So as you go into these later rounds, they certainly favor Jamal James.
Yeah, this is a round and then the fight where, you know, James is going to go back and look at this and learn from it as far as picking your shots. You just don't want to outfight a fighter every single fight.
Oh, both of them digging away to the body with hooks. James landing upstairs again. Not a lot of head movement off the center line by Palmetta, and he's paying for it. But he comes back, delivers a right hand.
Palmetta will look back at this and say, how come I just couldn't get more right hooks into the body? And that's what he really wanted to do.
Chopping left by Palmetta as James doubles over. Oh, and James, there's a left uppercut by Palmetta as James returns with a right uppercut to the body of Palmetta.
Palmetta has scored 2 knockdowns with uppercuts, so he can get that punch in with power.
And you're right, Al, if there is anyone that could change something in this fight, is Palmetta with an overhand left or with that body
right
shot.
Hook to the body again. That's the money shot for Palmetta. The right hook to the body, but just not enough of them as we head to the 9th round. Palmetta putting on the pressure.
What's up? These last, what, 2 rounds? 2 rounds. What, you ain't got it? I got it. You got 2 rounds? Yes, sir. I want to see it. Okay? Yep. How do you feel? Good, sir. When you see that boy over there whip that joint up, man, we done watched this before. Yeah. See, he's trying to just walk down, man. Okay? Ooh, use both sides of this.
You got to throw that right. And keep at the body, keep working, and then you go to the body, and then the head. Let's go.
This is round number 9, scheduled for 10 at the Armory in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Welterweight division. Jamal James looking to bounce back from his first stoppage defeat against Radzhab Butaev, a long layoff, the longest of his career, 16 months again. Caught COVID a total of 3 times.
Wow.
And for Palmetta, his corner, they want him to continue to throw that right hand to the body. But he's getting picked off as he keeps his head on the center line and eats the combinations from James, who exits to his left with the left hook.
And see, and that was a beautiful example of picking your shots. He threw jab, jab, uppercut, steps to the side. That's it. You don't have to outland the fighter all the time.
You know, Palmetta usually lands 42% of his power punches, which is everything other than the jab. He's landing 31% tonight. Part of that is he's facing the best fighter he's faced in his career.
Yeah.
Oh, nice right by
Beautiful
Palmetta.
right hand. Palmetta continues to march forward. Minute 50 left in the 9th. No quit in Alberto Palmetta. Diminutive in stature compared to James, and James delivers a couple of rights to the body, one upstairs, and now it's James rallying, going to the body, clubbing right hand.
I can see why people show up to support James. He's a fighter, man. He's a guy that You know, he likes to he likes to stand in there and trade punches, and he's giving us a show tonight.
Now there was a right hook by Palmetta, the kind that he would hope would have maybe hurt James and turned things around. It didn't, but it did get in there. But he's running out of time.
Yeah, you're right. Palmetta's in that position right now, just looking for that clean shot that can change this fight drastically, and it can happen, especially against a tired James.
Palmetta with 13 knockout wins. Out of his 18 victories, Jamal James, 12 of his 27 wins have come via stoppage. Under 20 left here in the ninth. Long range boxing for James. Palmetta closes the gap, eats a right to the body. There's a right upstairs by Palmetta.
Very entertaining round. We're going to see Palmetta land. That was a punch earlier in the round. It's kind of a straight, almost a jab, really, but it was a hard power punch, and then he throwing in the right hook to the body. That's the Palmetta that he thought he hoped we would see during most of these rounds. However, this is the James that we have seen. He also is a terrific body puncher, always has been. And that one slowed Palmetta up, and then James just kept whacking away on the inside. Well, that right hook just missed by Palmetta.
10th and final round, and now one of the keys to victory for Palmetta was to establish the jab, and well, he hasn't been able to do that much tonight, and now really I think he has to throw the jab out and go all for it.
The irony is he's done it in the last 15 seconds after you said it, and he did it in the last round with that one nice jab.
He's 8 for 187, according to show stats, while James 38 for 331 jabs.
Typical boxer fighter, right? That waits for the last round to do exactly what he had to do.
It's interesting.
I mean, it happens. It is interesting.
Yeah, and it's not always easy to, as you well know, to implement what you want to do. Yeah, and so in this final round,
1, 2. Beautiful combinations by Jamal James, again continuing to attack the body and going upstairs. Full complement of punch selection here tonight.
When Jamal James is at his best, that kind of combination punching is what we see. But to both the body and the head. Look at him. See, he mixed it up there.
Right hook to the body by Palmetta. And that uppercut, then trying to chop down James with a right.
Got to keep trying. He's got a minute and 40 seconds.
And that's exactly what he's doing, a determined effort, a tenacious Alberto Palmetta facing a guy with a huge reach advantage, according to our measurements.
And at age 32, Palmetta knows this is the moment for him. He's finally got his opportunity against the top welterweight.
He's won 12 in a row, 11 of those wins inside the distance, but he's never faced someone the caliber of Jamal James.
I want to see that overhand left from Palmetta. He's been working the body, ripping to the body really well. Let's see if he finds a home for that head left.
Under a minute left in the fight.
Been very reluctant to throw that punch.
James does not abandon his body attack. Puts together the combination. Some head movement finally from Palmetta. But he remains right in front of James, trying to find the proverbial Hail Mary with 30 seconds left. Dogged determination from the Argentine Alberto Palmetta. Plenty of pride, but does he have the necessary pop to try and stop Jamal James in dramatic fashion? the embrace. Two gutsy warriors going 30 minutes in the welterweight division. Biggest takeaway, Al, from what you saw tonight from Jamal James.
Yeah, waiting a long time before he could get back in the ring. Even some momentary doubts during the fight about whether he was in the condition to continue.
Good point.
And he found that reserve, and he was able to get it done ultimately.
And while we await the official scores, Abner, what's your biggest takeaway when it comes to Palmetta, the underdog coming into this fight?
I mean, you can't be mad or upset, even if he loses, which I think he is. It was that kind of fight, but the type of pressure that Palmetta put in this fight, he tried every single round. I mean, that's what I take away from this fight. A guy that never gave up, even until the last second of this fight.
Let's go inside the ropes, look at this fight in microcosm. Early on in the matchup, Jamal James, as he often does, got off to a very fine start, throwing combinations, fighting at mid-range and landing very well. This was at a point where Palmetta, and there's the left hand that Abner kept calling for, that we saw a little bit early from Palmetta. Palmetta kept trying to attack, but James, with his combination punching, what led him to land 193 punches in this fight, according to show stats. He worked both the body and the head, which that man is capable of doing.
And according to show stats, he threw 356 jabs, 372 power punches, also well-balanced attack.
And landing 41% of those power punches. And you look at the body work. When James is landing 68 body punches, and if you're Palmetta, you're getting out landed by 48 to the body, and you're the fighter that has to get on the inside, that isn't going to serve you well.
Let's get the official decision here. Once again is Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of action, the judges are in agreement. We have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Ludi Webster, scores about 99 to 91. Chris Wilson and John Shorley both scored about 98 to 92. All three in favor of the winner from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Jamal Shango James.
Jamal James, a wife and mother in attendance, and Minneapolis standing up and cheering for one of its own. Jamal James bouncing back from the first stoppage loss of his career and picking up a good win here against Alberto Palmetta, whose 12-fight winning streak has been extinguished. Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, Mauro, thank you very much. Jamal, congratulations. Nice fight here in front of the hometown. How much did the layoff bother you, and were you concerned at all about having that COVID 3 times? Did it affect you at all?
I'm pretty sure everybody could see, man, the layoff did affect me. I had a lot of rust on me. You know, my legs weren't sharp, punches weren't as sharp, but I'm glad I was able to get in there against a tough guy like that because it pushed me mentally, you know what I mean? And it made me step up to the occasion.
Is that the discussion you were having with your corner after the 6th round?
Yeah, you know, because I can see everything and heard everything they wanted me to do, but as I was trying to, you know, go through with their instruction, it just wasn't coming off as sharp as I know it should have been. So, you know, I was just, instead of getting too worried about it, I was just trying to adapt, you know.
So how would you assess overall, after you were able to adapt and continue after that 6th round, how you did?
You know, I definitely felt like I won the fight, but I believe that I could have did a lot better. You know I'm a lot sharper. I know that my endurance is a lot stronger. I think we just had a long time off, and, you know, my body's still getting back strong, but I'll be back for sure.
What will you have to assess between now and trying to become a champion again?
You said, what do I have to assess?
Yeah, what will you have to do to improve, or what will you mentally put you in a position to want to pursue that and know that you can be a champion again?
Well, you know, I know I could be a champion again because I already was a champion. You know, I think I just need to stay focused, stay in the gym, you know, live in the gym, and go back, study this fight, study the last few fights, and totally step it up, you know what I mean?
Congratulations. First fight as a father.
Yeah, thank you. Thank everybody in Minneapolis for coming and showing love. Shango Nation in the building. I want to thank my manager, Al Heyman, and his whole team, man. They presented me with great opportunities. Thanks Showtime Boxing and PBC, and I'll be back.
5-0 in the building. Congratulations. All right, back to you, Morrow.
Yeah, that's right, Jim. A perfect 5-0 here in the Armory. Jamal James recording his first win as a father. And let's bring in our unofficial scorer, Steve Farhood, to go over the official scores and his own scorecard.
Well, Mo, no real surprises here on the official cards. The judges agreed on 6 of the 10 rounds. Judge Ludi Webster gave Jamal James the first 9 rounds in the fight. That's why he had it so one-sided. As far as my card goes, I gave Palmetta 2 rounds, including the 10th, which he won on 2 cards. But way too little, way too late for Palmetta, and a clear win for James.
Here on Showtime, where a sold-out crowd of 4,700 have congregated at the Armory for this night of fights. And with more, let's go back to Brian Custer.
Okay, Mo, thank you. Congratulations, Jamal James, as he tries to fight his way back up to the top of the welterweight division. You know, we captured some audio in the corner during this fight, and we call it trainer tracks.
Yeah, inside. Keep using the jab. He's going to try and come after you hard now. Okay, he'll run into something.
When you get close to him, you got to start throwing. And just start throwing. If we go on a decision, you know you're going to lose.
You get over there, whip the shot, baby. Bam, 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 bam. Have fun out here.
You need to throw everywhere once you have him nice and close. If we don't do that, then it's over.
Wake up. Pop, pop, pop. What you feeling? What you feeling? Huh?
I'll talk to you about it after.
All right.
I think that COVID shit fucked me up. I don't know. I think that COVID shit might fuck me up. It shouldn't be this exhausting.
Calm down, man. We already did
You can't hit me, so I know.
All right? And we ain't going to be just playing on the dumb stuff. What? You ain't got it?
I got it.
You got 2 rounds?
Yes, sir.
I want to see it. This is yours. This is your house. Act like this is your house. Come on the road and show these bars.